The Rack Show, geek culture at its best.
One more thing before we let you go. I heard you talk about farming earlier. Are you interested in farming?
Well, I'm interested because there's a gentleman that I spoke to from the Thumb area who has a farm. I'm only interested because I'm a relatively well-read guy, and the reason I bring that up is because I'm fascinated when I meet so many people from so many different walks of life by traveling around the world talking about my work. That I met a really sweet guy who he and his wife brought their grandkids out.
Actually, the gentleman right back there.
Yeah, and we were talking about he's got a farm up in the Thumb area, and it was really cool talking to him about how he's got a 10 or 15,000 bucks worth of hay that's rotting on the ground because you guys have had too much water. Yeah. We are in a drought in California, and I know people that, or I don't know, I read about people who are having to sell their cattle because the cost of hay out there has risen 300%. So it's really fascinating how you meet people from all walks of lives, and you see people getting bent out of shape about, oh my God, milk is really expensive. And here's a guy who's a dairy farmer, and he's going, yeah, well, milk is doing really well, but corn isn't doing so well because the cost of corn and I'm going to have to sell a certain amount of it that was supposed to go for making ethanol, and
there's just so much more to it than people realize.
It's so intertwined, exactly, Conrad.
We're very balanced.
We are.
One thing off, and it's all off.
Yeah, and people complain about this, and you want to say you should talk to a guy who really farms for a living. It is a very difficult circumstance.
I volunteer at an urban farm
Good
here
for
in Detroit,
you, man.
And it's rough. Even
it's
just
tough.
volunteering, it's hard. We have many cows and goats, and we have 11 acres of land.
And when you look at
in
guys
Detroit too, it's right
and
7 miles.
When you see people who farm for a living, man, oh man, they're at the mercy of the elements. They're at the mercy of the market.
Which in Michigan recently has been.
I used to bale hay.
Jesus.
I used to live in the country. I grew up north of here, way up north. And baling hay, I was a city kid.
That's
my parents were like,
kid,
we're gonna move to the country.
Yeah.
So we moved from Metro Detroit all the way up north. And one of my first jobs was baling hay.
Good.
And they shoot them out.
That's
and it's
tough.
like, you don't know what you're doing.
No, man, you get killed.
Yeah.
No,
it was a rough summer, but it taught me a lot.
It's fascinating to talk to people who really have jobs like that are really salt of the earth people who work so hard, and the stuff we take for granted about how we get milk and produce and the cost it takes to get that to market.
We're such an instant gratification society that I think we lose track of how much goes into what we get.
The coolest thing has been teaching kids that the stuff that they see in, and this is a totally different show, but I'm just really excited.
Farm. No, but it's
this is where it comes from. This is where your meat comes from.
Yeah.
This is where spaghetti comes from.
Listen, man, I totally get it. And all of a sudden, the price of meat tanks, and you have to get rid of a lot of your beef cattle because the cost of hay has now risen 300%, and you're going, I can't afford to pay these cattle. So I have to slaughter them now to take whatever I can get out of them because I can't all of a sudden sell beef for 50 bucks a pound because nobody will buy it. It's a very tough circumstance. So I was really grateful to get a chance to talk to this gentleman. I like Carl Weiser a lot.
I remember Carl Weiser.
He probably will never ever get laid. But then again, life imitates art. I don't either anymore. So.
Just got to get back up on that silver surfboard and go back into the cosmos.